Finally, we have scored another victory against them fucking assholes Monsanto, aka Bayer, pharmaceutical fuckers. Yeah, it's about fucking time. You know, I'm tired of us constantly getting kicked in the balls by these fucking big-ass pharmaceutical and agriculture companies. Pieces of shit. Well, it's you know, I've been harping on Monsanto in this whole glyphosate thing over and over again. And while the war is ongoing, we have just scored a major victory in the fight against Monsanto and one of the pharmaceutical companies, Bayer, who bought out Monsanto, is we're starting to punch them in the wallets. We're hitting them in the wallets. And remember I told you that the best way to initiate change is to fuck with the money. There's no other way. You're not going to get lawmakers to ban the shit. They have the FDA in their fucking pocket. No, we have to hurt them financially in order for them to change their fucking ways. There's no way around that. There's no... You can't trust the FDA. You can't trust the USDA. You can't trust the Environmental Protection Agency. All of these, you know, government bodies are compromised by industry, and it's proven in fucking court. How much more proof do we need? I have zero confidence in any of these agencies in protecting public health. Because just look around you. How the fuck are they doing? And, you know, it just gets so frustrating to see millions of people suffering from debilitating chronic diseases that are all preventable. All of them preventable if we just change our fucking ways. We change our nutrition. We change our agricultural practices. We change the flow of money. That's the only way. That's the only way to regulate these companies is through money. And they have a lot of it. They have a lot of it. A little less today. Actually, a pretty decent chunk less today. But let's get into it a little bit. So what am I all fucking happy about? Well, Monsanto got their ass handed to them again in court. This is the third case of roughly, I think, 1,100 cases, 1,400 cases. There's a lot of fucking cases that they're going to be waiting through. And now that we have 3 losses on Monsanto's part, they're appealing all of them. They're going to try and keep it tied up in court, which is just going to cost them even more fucking money on top of what they're probably going to still lose anyway. Now, I was a little disappointed with the first lawsuit because they got it downgraded from like 200 and something million down to 70 something million, which to Bayer is like, you know, that's their fucking coffee budget for the month. You know, we're talking a huge pharmaceutical industry here that has a large control over several other industries. It's going to take a lot of fucking money for them to stop. For them to change their ways, for them to get fucking glyphosate out of our fucking life, to clean up our agriculture. The shit's in your food and it's causing cancer. Hello. It's in court. It's being proven. The World Health Organization has pretty much said fuck you to every other government agency that got stroked by Monsanto into saying all this shit's fucking safe for you. There's evidence of this attempt at Monsanto to corrupt these government agencies, to get science corrupted. You know, all you motherfuckers that are throwing epidemiology all over the place. I just watched that debate between Spherage and Vegan Gains, and the fucking epidemiology is bullshit. Science is corrupt. It's plain as fucking day. And once you can spot the little things that they do in these studies to get the outcome that they want, that the person that paid for the fucking study wants them to get to, and once you realize that if they don't reach that conclusion, you don't get a fucking study. You do not see their failures because the person paying the bills doesn't want to pay for something that doesn't fucking stroke their fucking product. And Monsanto is the king of one of these. They've been doing it for a very long time to promote the safety of glyphosate and other chemicals and GMOs. And their only defense of what they're appealing on is the FDA, the EPA, the EPA, the EPA, because they fucking own the EPA. That's why. The EPA says this is safe. Well, everybody fucking else says it isn't. So fuck the EPA, in my book. You know, I mean, really. They're your fucking economic protection agency, not the fucking environmental protection agency. I mean, what the fuck? When will we wake up from this shit and realize what these huge companies are fucking doing, and they're siphoning money from your health? And they're pumping it into their own wallets. When you have a major industrial monopoly like Monsanto does, and then you have a pharmaceutical industry come in and purchase that, they have you under control at that point from cradle to the fucking grave. They get you sick with their agricultural products, then they treat you with their pharmaceutical products. That's a pretty big fucking mountain for us to overcome if we're going to get public health back on track. Because if everybody's healthy, their bottom line goes way down. Fortunately, we're not as fucking dumb as they would like us to be. Fortunately, people are going, hey, these motherfuckers have been fucking us. Here's proof. And lawyers who are salivating for the big paydays are all over this shit. They are picking apart Monsanto and Bayer's bullshit, and doing so successfully in a court of law. So the only hope from government we have on this issue is the judicial system at this point. The executive branch is still appointing corrupt officials. You can look at the Food Guideline Committee and see exactly what's going on. Just look at the conflicts of interest in the Food Guideline Committee if you ever want a stance on who's getting appointed to where. You know, the other branches of government are fucking in the interest of money. The Economic Protection Agency. Or the U.S. Department of fucking you up. Or the Food and Pharmaceutical Drugstore fucking pimpin' agency. You know, all of these motherfuckers are not protecting public health. They're protecting economic health. The economy is more important than whether or not you have to spend the last 20 fucking years of your life in the medical fucking treadmill, siphoning all your money back to companies like Bayer. And then you go out, after busting your ass for 50 years in the fucking grind, they take what little you have left. You don't even have anything to leave your kids because the fucking nursing home is going to take all of that if you're lucky enough to get there. And in the meantime, they siphon all your wealth off throughout your old age in the form of pill after fucking pill after fucking pill. So I'm pissed at Monsanto. I'm pissed at pretty much I cannot think of a pharmaceutical company that I believe in, that I think has our health as their best interest. All you got to do is watch pharmaceutical fucking commercials to realize how fucked up it really is. And once you see through the corrupt science, the corrupt government agencies, and you get to this place where you realize you can take control of your health and you have to do it on your own, that's the point where you reverse health and you step out of this fucked up system that is designed to fuck you over. It's pretty much, it's to take your wealth. That's all this is. They don't care. If you could get healthy and they could get your money, they'd be fine with it. But there's a great deal of profit to be made if they can make you sick as you grow up. Then, once you're sick, give you treatment for your symptoms without cures that you have to take the rest of your life. And then at the end, put you in a nursing home and siphon the rest. You know, that's the formula. That is why health, pharmaceuticals, and agriculture are such huge parts of our economy. And make no mistake, if we are to fix any of this, there's going to be an economic crash of some kind. It's coming. If we are successful in trading public health. In reclaiming public health, you are going to lose economic health. That's just how it fucking goes. So let's take a look at, 2 billion. 2 billion. They're going to feel that shit. Now, if it's going to go the way of the first one, where some other judge gets bought off and fucking reduces their penalty. This is punitive damages. This isn't because this old couple needed fucking $2 billion. This is, hey, Monsanto, Bayer, you need to stop, or we're going to keep fucking you, and we're going to take that $2 billion. And when this is a precedent now, there's 3 cases that they lost. Those 3 cases will be used to get more of these. This could bankrupt Monsanto with the right unbiased, unpaid for judges to adjudicate these lawsuits. And they're scrambling. They're going to appeal. They're going to keep it tied up in court for as long as they got the budget to. In the meantime, it's hurting them. Their stock, Bayer stock, has dropped over 40%. It's getting fucking crazy out there. I mean, this is how you change these companies. They care about nothing else other than their shareholders and their profits. And if you tank those, these companies either have to change or go out of business. That is how you regulate these huge companies. And it takes a lot of people to change their habits, to change their spending. Quit buying fucking glyphosate. I don't care how many fucking weeds are in your lawn. I don't care if your farm is a pain in the ass to control your fucking pests. Maybe figure out how we used to do it before dickheads like Monsanto came along and go back to that. And yes, your yield and profit may drop, but you would not be destroying public health at that point. If you farmed organically, worked with nature instead of trying to change nature to make more money, then you would solve the problem. Unfortunately, a lot of people value the profit more than the public health, and that's what needs to change. So even though they're getting their ass handed to them in court, they are still making shit tons of money on their products. No agency is banning them. I mean, how many court cases do they need to lose before glyphosate is banned in the United States? In which case, they probably will follow the formula of places like DuPont, where they replace the fucked up product with the next big chemical, which probably has its own host of side effects that we won't be able to figure out for another 50 years. And so this is, the war is not over. This will be appealed. I guarantee you they're going to find some fucking judge. This is my prediction. They're going to find some fucking judge that's going to knock that $2 billion down to like a more manageable $60 million. I'm hoping it doesn't go that way. Now, I'm noticing media has picked this up, so maybe that's a sign of changes. You know, I remain skeptical because this wasn't the top of my newsfeed. This is huge. A product that is in your fucking cornflakes, in your fucking bread, in your pasta, causes fucking cancer. You're eating that shit. You can go get your shit checked right now. I guarantee you, glyphosate is in your system. It causes fucking cancer. You know, the World Health Organization has ruled it likely causes cancer. There have been randomized controlled trials on animals that have proven that it causes cancer. They haven't been able to get funding for much else thanks to Monsanto's fucking fuckery in the scientific community. But if you look around at people that are just, you know, I've seen videos of motherfuckers running around in India with the fucking sprayer and it's all over the fucking place and they're breathing it in. It's all over their body. Those are the people that are suing right now. But what happens when the rest of us start to wake up that our other fucking quality of life issues? They're causing damage to just about everybody who eats the standard American diet. Thanks, Monsanto, you motherfuckers. It's getting out of control. So I wanted to go through one of the news stories out from CBS and react to that a bit. And just to kind of highlight the fact that the days of Monsanto and Bayer are numbered. Now, here, my other prediction is Bayer is going to try and unload Monsanto, probably at a huge loss, so that they can escape the next 1,100 fucking, lawsuits. And then Monsanto will go bye-bye. That's all they can do that I can think of. Is get rid of Monsanto off of their fucking thing and go back to their normal making money off of fucking us on the other end of the fucking health spectrum. So here we go here.
The company behind the maker of Roundup weed killer plans to appeal a more than $2 billion verdict.
Of course they plan to appeal. They're not going to let that shit fucking stand. That's $2 billion motherfucking dollars.
Against it. A jury in California yesterday found the popular herbicide was linked to an elderly couple's cancer.
And if you are on a standard American diet, and even if you're not, even if you're keto or dirty keto, you're still getting exposed to that shit. If you're eating any factory-produced, industrial, agriculturally produced products, including your fucking vegetables, you vegans, this shit's in your body. Guaranteed. When you look at how this is applied and sprayed, it's ridiculous. It's airborne. They got planes dropping the shit. It's fucking nuts. And it's in your body right now. It's in the water. Here in Syracuse, one of our drinking water sources is surrounded by rich motherfuckers with nice, beautiful lawns. How much you want to bet that there's some Roundup involved in that mix? And where do you think that runoff goes? Right into the drinking water. I've gone over look it up at what Roundup. Theory Vrain does a brilliant summation of what glyphosate does to you. He's a former GMO fucking scientist that retired and blew the whistle on glyphosate. And you can find his lectures here on YouTube, and he goes through all the shit that this is going to do to you. I think Natasha Campbell McBride also does a similar speech. So just start researching at what this is doing to you, because it's in your food. And there's things you can do to try and minimize it. Going carnivore definitely minimizes it. You still get some, though. You're still getting fucked. It's almost unavoidable. It is so polluted in our environment. It's going to take years to clean it up out of our fucking system. And we haven't even taken the first step, which is banning this shit. No, we're making them pay, and hopefully they go out of business, but glyphosate isn't banned. It's still ruled as safe by the fucking EPA and the FDA. What else do we... In fact, they raised the allowable limits at one point because it was hurting Monsanto to try and get it below a certain level. If it's fucking safe, there shouldn't be a level. If it doesn't have toxicity, there shouldn't be a maximum level. Like, I mean, that's common sense. But yet we throw common sense aside when it comes to fucking money.
The judgment is the third since August against Monsanto's parent company, Bayer, that involves this product. Anna Werner has been following the controversy surrounding Roundup. Anna, good morning.
Good morning. The two other verdicts were huge, about $289 million and $80 million, but those are...
Yeah, but the 289 got knocked down to like 70-something.
...just a fraction of the more than $2 billion awarded to a married couple from California. The jury came to its decision quickly, deliberating less than 2 days.
It only took them 2 days to say, yep, they're assholes, and pound them for $2 billion. Now, $200 million, they're going to be like, they probably spend that on lawyers. $2 billion, when you put the B there, the shareholders are taking a fucking hit there. And stocks are going down. I guarantee you that this verdict is going to cause a plummet in Bayer's stock. And, you know, and they're going to be trying, and they're regretting buying Monsanto. They thought they were greedy, and it's their own fault. They wanted more fucking control, more fucking profit. What better way than to control the entire, pretty much your entire life, from the food you put in your mouth to the medicine to fix your health ailments, the stuff that can cause you illness to the stuff that supposedly fixes your illness. If you corner both of those markets, you will be wealthy. You will be in control of a lot of shit. And as the wealth builds, you are then able to exert that control into government, into academia, into every fucking facet of our lives. And there's just no fucking way around it. As these companies become more powerful, and we see it with these tech giants and their fucking attack on freedom of speech and all of this other bullshit going on, this censoring and all of that shit. As these companies become huge, they exert the power. It becomes less about money and more about control and power, and then more money. And then once they're publicly traded and they have these stockholders to answer to, it becomes like, okay, we got to fucking, the quarterly report's coming soon. We need to fucking show this profit. What can we do to fuck people over and get more money? And that's what's going on out there. And they, all the while, we're distracted. We're you know, fucked with, you know, people are fucking with our social issues, and you have all this social justice outrage going on. In the meantime, you got this bullshit that no one's really paying attention to. I don't think I saw one fucking social media post on this. None. None of my friends, who are just normal average motherfuckers, give a flying shit that Monsanto just got hit with the $2 billion fucking, and it affects every single one of them. Everybody watching this has glyphosate in your food. I don't care how, unless you are the pristine, grow your own shit in an environment that isn't watered near a large agricultural center. Unfortunately, I don't live in one of those areas. And if you're in the Midwest, in the Corn Belt, you're definitely fucked. And if you're in Canada, I know for sure you're fucked up there, because I've been up there while they were spraying. And I had hives breaking out regularly, which was rough. So there's not a whole lot of places to run and grow your own shit and homestead to fucking get away from this problem. And it's polluting everything, our entire food system. So now obviously dose can determine the poison. So if you're bathing in the shit, you're probably going to have a case. But if it takes 20 years to fuck you up, or even 10 years to fuck you up, you're not even going to notice. And that is what companies like Monsanto and Bayer were banking on. They were banking on that, yeah, we know it causes problems, but it takes a long time for these problems to manifest, and as they do, we will make more money. So yeah, we might get sued every now and then and have to pay out 70-something million, but we can afford that because the profit margin's so fucking huge, you know. I imagine Bayer's profits are in the trillions. So it's going to take a whole lot of billions to make them shut the fuck up, probably. This is all my opinion, by the way. I'm just some asshole reacting to one of the worst fucking companies ever to grace the planet, and that is fucking Monsanto. I hate Monsanto with every fiber of my being. They have ruined our food system. They have destroyed the lives of farmers. Try and be an organic farmer in the grain belt, and Monsanto will fucking stomp you like a little piece of shit. And there's tons of documentation on this. There's proof in our courtrooms that has stood up to 3 juries now. 3 juries have said, fuck you, Monsanto. And we don't give a shit what the FDA says because we have evidence that you have been influencing the FDA and the EPA. That's what's going on. That is why this is something you should be caring about more than who said what to trigger who. And all the vegans and carnivores going back and forth, beating the shit out of each other here on fucking YouTube. And you're not even talking about this. And this is very important for both sides. For you carnivores, what do you think they're feeding your animals unless you're eating 100% grass-fed? And even then, because of the water pollution problem in these agricultural zones, it's still getting into those animals, and by proxy getting into you, all that filtered a little bit more than the people who are eating grain where it's sprayed directly on the crop to desiccate it. Dose is determining the poison, but how do you maximize your longevity? And that's to minimize your dose of glyphosate. And I thought that's where we're stuck. I honestly did not picture a verdict of this size. I pictured more bullshit that, the courts, I don't have a lot of faith in the system. I don't know if you gathered that. I'm not a big faith in our system guy. I've seen a whole lot of bad shit happen in pretty much every facet of our system to people who didn't deserve it. And I find that this is fucking, it's a good victory if it lasts, first of all. But there's going to be appeals. This is going to go on in court probably for the rest of my life. I mean, they will fight to the bitter end. But there's going to be a point where their stock dips so low that they're going to have to stop with glyphosate. Doesn't mean they're going to stop all their fucking bullshit practices that they've been doing. Their profit model still stands. They're still going to have a large control of the agricultural sector unless they go bankrupt from all of these lawsuits. Imagine if all 1,100 or 11,000 or however many fucking lawsuits pop up from this, because believe me, when you see this payday, there's going to be an increase in motherfuckers going, hey, I think glyphosate fucked me up. Got prostate cancer last year. I sprayed Roundup on my lawn 4 times. Hey, lawyer! And then wait till everyone realizes it's in your food. Oh, shit. Everything's going to get fucking blamed on. Shit that has nothing to do with glyphosate's going to get blamed on it, and they're going to be in fucking court. Monsanto's going to be in court for the rest of its existence because of this, in my opinion. It's fucking nuts. And then people, wonder why there's, people doing extreme shit like, the whole vaccination thing that's been going on that I'm staying away from. I have an opinion. I'm not willing to go out because I don't want to get my channel shut down or any of the other bullshit. But let's just say that pharmaceutical companies and medical industries have ruined the trust that we had in them over the past 50 to 100 years. They've been doing this a long time, and they've been fucking people over for money for a long time. You can go back to the late 1800s and see some of the bullshit snake oil fucking people that were running around posing as the health experts and doctors and giving them miracle cures and tonics and shit with fucking formaldehyde and cocaine and whatever the fuck else is in it. This is not a new concept. It's probably been going out throughout human history, people trying to get ahead by fucking with things a little bit. But now it's almost fucking institutionalized, this level of snake oil that people are selling. And so, I would like to get back to where we could trust big companies again, where I could go in the hospital and not be afraid of what they're going to fucking do to me or feed me in there. I don't trust the hospital. I don't want to go in the fucking hospital for almost anything. I have to be damn near dead. It has to be something that is practical, that there's a known fix for, and then I'll fucking go. But I wouldn't trust them for cancer or diabetes or even heart disease at this point. They've eroded my trust because of this bullshit. And that's what needs to change before you can fix healthcare. But, I went off on a big tangent there because you can tell I'm fucking extra triggered today.
We've been fighting cancer for 9 years now. It was caused
9 years of their life spent. 9 years. How much money you think that is? Not just from them. I imagine they had some insurance policy that they hit the deductible on, and you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that everyone else in the system is helping to cover. It's great that they're getting $2 billion, but what about all the people paying those fucking huge deductibles for inflated healthcare costs while getting a fucking quarter of their fucking paycheck taken out to pay for their health insurance? I know this needs to be a class action thing, but they seem to be doing it one at a time. But it's good to see that we're actually doing something that has them a little bit on the ropes. And the more cases they lose, the more on the ropes they become. So, and I guarantee you this old couple could give two shits about that $2 billion. They're trying to not die. And they are pissed. And it's more about what can we do to Monsanto that will make them stop doing this shit. To take this crap off the fucking shelves.
by Roundup.
To get it out of your fucking food and your fucking grain. Grain would probably be a lot more, I don't want to go as far as saying grain's good for you, but it would be less toxic if this shit wasn't in the mix.
For more than 3 decades, Alberta and Alva Piliad say they used Monsanto's Roundup weed killer to landscape their home and other properties. In 2011, Alva was diagnosed with a form of non-Hodgkins lymphoma. 4 years later, Alberta received a similar diagnosis.
And if you think this stuff can cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and not fuck you up if it's in your food long term, I think you're living in some dream fantasy world.
And bone.
That's like saying I could just smoke one cigarette and I ain't gotta fucking worry about it. I'm good. There's health consequences to it. You can't live your life that way. It's just not how it works. You try and minimize your exposure. And right now we are overexposed to this chemical. So it's not just motherfuckers with their lawns. It's in your food. Look it up. It's in your food. It's measured. It's documented. Label as safe. It's under acceptable levels. Well, what the fuck? How did you get to those acceptable levels? Because last I checked, you just pencil whipped it and fucking raised it. Because Monsanto was bitching. And Monsanto controls your fucking entire industrial agriculture system. So apparently, you're pretty much going to suck them off when they want something. And we're tired of you sucking them off. So maybe get some more integrity in our fucking science institutions and in our government. We'd like to see some integrity. We'd like to be able to trust you motherfuckers again. Because I don't. And I don't think anyone else does either at this point. Look around you. Look how keto is growing. Look how carnivore is exploding. It's because people are done listening to fucking bullshit. They're not listening to science. They're not listening to epidemiology. They're looking at their friend that fucking did something and gets better. And then they try it and they get better. I get feedback all the time from my mother's friends who have jumped on the bandwagon because of her results. And they're all fucking doing great. Saving probably tens to 20s to maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical costs at the end of their life. Just by changing their fucking eating patterns. It's this kind of thing that companies like Bayer do not want. And they will do anything to prevent that. Because that ends that perfectly symbiotic relationship they have with our nutrition system and our healthcare system.
And I had brain. So we had different types of the same disease.
Monday, an Oakland, California jury agreed that their cancers were linked to the glyphosate-based weed killer, saying that Roundup was defectively designed and that the company failed to warn consumers of the herbicide's potential risk. Attorneys said Monsanto manipulated scientific literature and attempted to influence regulatory agencies while discrediting scientists who connect.
And I hate to break it to you, but this bullshit isn't just Monsanto. This is pretty much, or Bayer, this is pretty much every pharmaceutical industry is guilty of this. Every industry funding a study is trying to do this. That's why we need nonprofit science. We need science and universities that aren't open to this influence before we can trust them again. And this is proven. This is the juries. Why do you think they're finding these fuckers so much money? Is because they're doing this shady shit and it's documented and they were able to prove it. And the sugar industry has done this. The tobacco industry has done this. DuPont has done this. There's a bunch of companies that they've been able to prove have been doing this activity. This activity is part of business. They budget for the shit. When Bayer acquired Monsanto, they had a budget to deal with our bullshit lawsuits and the possible consequences that they're going to make an omelet regardless of how many fucking eggs they break. So this makes me question a whole lot of shit that I probably 4 or 5 years ago took for granted. And that I still see lots of people, even those trying to get healthy, taking for granted. You know, I was rolling my eyes with the people, you know, whenever I go to a debate on nutrition and I see people throwing this study versus this study. Vegans love epidemiology, especially since it's got a lot of plant-based lobbying and corruption going on there. You know, look at Harvard and all the corruption that's been coming out on the scientific community there. You know, when you throw in studies around, nowadays I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't care about that. Oh yeah, it's got a fucking 46% increase in risk. So it went from, 12 to 13% chance of having, they play this numbers game, this relative risk, and like if you went from fucking 2% to 4% chance of something bad happening to you, then that's a 100% increase in risk. Holy shit. And I believe Bradford Hill is 2 or 3x. 2 or 3 times increase in risk is enough to make a hypothesis that something causes something. None of this shit can be drawn as conclusion, yet it is picked up by the media and splattered at you. Bacon causes cancer, coffee causes cancer, all of this shit causes cancer. Where's the Monsanto stuff? Why am I not seeing that? I see it in court, $2 billion to a couple with cancer. That's big news for a few days. This story will disappear, much like the other 2 lawsuits did. And then people forget. And then they go about their lives suffering and miserable because their health is not what it could be if this shit was out of our system. Fucking bullshit. Pieces of shit.
Glyphosate to cancer.
The jury saw it for what it was. $2 billion is a statement.
It was the third
Yeah, it's a big fuck you. And I love that they did that. I do. You know, they gave me an ounce more faith in the system, assuming it stands. As long as Monsanto doesn't knock this shit the fuck down, they're going to have to do something to keep their shareholders from dumping them. You know, they've already lost 40% of their money. You know, how much are you going to lose before you unload? You know, there's going to be the people that hang on and that try and ride the storm. But the more and more, this is 3 of thousands of lawsuits. The writing is on the wall. If I had stock in Bayer right now, I'd be like, well, fuck this shit. I'm not losing any more money. Goodbye. You know, and I guarantee you they're hurting from this. This is not something that they're like, oh, no problem. No, they're in panic mode right now, and they're hiring every motherfucking lawyer in the book because that's probably cheaper than what this verdict is costing them. And if they can get this verdict reversed, but you know what? Even if they do that, people are seeing this for what it is, and it will not reverse the trust we have in these companies. It will not change our perspective. And more people will wake up as a result of this lawsuit. Not enough to start making changes with our spending habits and what we do to ourselves and what we consume. But when people start to learn that they can make money by going after these companies for this shit, that's where the balance will start to happen. You know, and that's all it is. It's 2 different groups. You got lawyers and victims saying, hey, we should get some fucking money for this. And then you got the companies that have been siphoning money off of those people. So it's a big battle that's going on back and forth, with money being the ultimate motive for most of it. But like I said, once you find out that you have cancer and your life's over, you don't give a shit about money. You give a shit about not dying. And this is going to prevent companies from continuing to do this shit simply because it's not profitable anymore. We have to make their practice of doing this form of business, not profitable for them to change their ways. And the only way you can do that is through stuff like this. If it's going to cost them $2 billion every time they do this shady business model, they will try and change the business model to some other shady business model, but more than likely, it'll be the lesser of 2 evils at that point. So, you know, that's my thoughts there.
$1 million verdict in a row against Bayer involving Roundup. The first was in August when Dwayne Lee Johnson was awarded more than $289 million, later reduced by a judge to $78 million.
Yeah, fuck that judge. Because they didn't even give a shit about the $278 million. And now you're made it almost like it's a fucking, their bill for fucking their lawyers almost. You know, I don't know how much they're paying their fucking lawyers. But anyways, you know, you got to make it hurt. If you're going to initiate change in a large company, it has to hurt financially. That's the only way they'll listen. Government regulation, they own that shit. They get it lobbied in their favor most of the time unless they're doing something that acutely affects health. If they start killing us off very quickly, the government will spank their pee-pee. But if it takes 10 to 20 years to fuck you up, then, okay, we're good. You know, safe to consume it. Pieces of shit.
I spoke with him last year.
What did that verdict mean to you?
The verdict really meant to me that this thing was not done in vain.
Following Monday's verdict, Bayer expressed great sympathy for Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah, I'm sure they were very fucking sympathetic. I could almost hear the fucking boardroom now. Oh my God, this is fucking horrible. We gotta destroy these motherfuckers' case. Fuck them. They probably didn't even offer a settlement. Did you ever think of that? You ever know? Have you noticed there's been no settlement offer, because that would be an admission of guilt. That would look pretty fucking shady. It'd probably be a lot less hardcore on them than if they were to fucking, sit here and go through this process in court. They didn't even offer settlement because they knew they couldn't. If they did that, they're admitting guilt. They were hoping that their bought and paid for agencies and lobbying and scientists, especially the science part, because that's what is going to be most heavily debated in the courtroom. And we have proof that they were altering the science so that that's what fucked up about the case. On one hand, they're presenting science, and on the other hand, they're presenting, the other side is presenting evidence that they bought and paid for that science to look the way it does. So they're saying, well, we got science. And the defense is saying, well, you get what you pay for, right? And so that their entire case is destroyed because they were banking that the money they spent paying for that science, essentially buying their scientific backing of glyphosate being safe, somehow going to keep them out of this fucking $2 billion hot water. And it's not. And these dollar signs are going to start to rack up as more and more cases, as they lose more and more cases against them. And then more cases will come out. Why? Because people will say, well, I've got non-Hodgkins lymphoma. Oh, wait a minute. $2 billion? Okay. And they'll call the lawyer, and the lawyer will be like looking through the case and be like, oh, yeah, let's go. And all they got to do is build upon the work of the previous lawyers, and they win. And it's a payday until Monsanto has no money left. Until Bayer has no money left if they don't get rid of Monsanto. Monsanto needs to go. They've been the biggest twats in our fucking agricultural world. There's not one thing that they've brought to the table that I feel is a worthwhile endeavor to humanity. Yeah, they can feed more people, but they can also make people more sick, reduce their quality of life, and ultimately kill them. Why did we need you in the first place? We might have been doing fine before you fucking came along, all right? We would have innovated our logistics to the point to feed the masses, and we still can. We don't need to industrialize agriculture. There's still enough room to do it the old-fashioned way, in my opinion. Prices may go up, but food's a basic essential thing that we require to do. And you can always grow your own food. There's people in cities doing it. You can have your own livestock. You can feed yourself sustainably. It is possible. Now it's going to be a change to our current lifestyle. We're not going to be able to be in these massive fucking cities filled with people and expect nobody's going to go hungry. We're going to have to spread out a little more and change how we live our lives if we're ever going to get there. But, this is hippie shit. No one fucking thinks that, any of this is going to come to pass. We're past that point. We're going to industrialize even further because science and profit take precedence over health. So if I was to make a prediction for humanity, I'd say we're going to err on the side of technology and continue to industrialize our agriculture, but in the meantime, we're going to do stupid shit like glyphosate every once in a while, and it's going to kill a lot of people and hurt a lot of lives. That's part of progress. I myself think we need to go back to organic agriculture where you work with nature instead of trying to mold and shape and change it to increase your productivity and to increase your profit.
But argued that leading health regulators agree that Roundup can be used safely and that glyphosate is not
Yeah, leading health fucking regulators, right?
carcinogenic. The Piliads say they want Monsanto to warn consumers.
Yeah, warning. How did that work with cigarettes, by the way? Yeah, smoking was reduced, but I still see plenty of people that smoke. No, it's bad. It's a poison. Ban it. Plain and simple. Ban the poison. Get it out of our food. Get it out of our fucking lawns. So you have a fucking weed in your lawn. It doesn't look pristine. Who gives a flying shit? I bet you if you end up... I bet you they would have traded all the perfect looking fucking lawns in the world for another 20 years at the end of their life, where they're not worrying about cancer and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical costs. Is your lawn really that fucking important? Is going down and paying $2 for a big box of cornflakes really that fucking important? Or would you rather spend a little more money for some healthier options than to spend it all on pharmaceutical industry at the end of your life? And that end of your life can come in your 30s now, and 40s. People having grabbers in their 40s and 50s. You know, there's a whole lot of preventable disease, and it's getting out of hand. And the only way to change it is, like I said, financially. Hit them in the wallet.
This money is really nice, but our health would have been better, and had they been labeled, we would have paid attention to it.
The Pilliads say they're still dealing with cancer-related health issues. Alva has difficulty speaking, Alberta with vision and hearing problems. More than 13,000 lawsuits are still pending.
13,000, see? There's thousands, but 13,000 lawsuits. We've had 3 verdicts so far. 3 of 13,000. What if every one of those amounted to $1 billion to $2 billion in penalties? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Bayer.
In April, the EPA reaffirmed its position that glyphosate posed no risks of concern for people exposed to it. Nora?
And what's that say about the EPA? Can you trust the EPA at this point? They're backing the wrong horse. Hello, EPA. If you want people to have faith in you, you're backing the wrong horse. All right? If I really believed that you were protecting the environment, you would put the smack down on Monsanto for this. But I know you're not doing that. And it's proven in court 3 times now. And I guarantee you it'll be proven again and again and again and again, because you done fucked up. So at what point do we hold the EPA accountable? That's my question. Yeah, we're going after Monsanto. Yeah, we're going after Bayer. But what about the agencies that let this shit happen? That are letting this go down? What about them? Are they going to pay billions? Can they afford to? So, you know, that's where I come out on this. I'm just like, it's great. You know, I'm, you know, happy that there is progress on the glyphosate front, but at what cost? How many more people are going to lose their quality of life for, and I think they said 9 years that they've been battling cancer. I guarantee you there's other people that have been battling it just as long or even during their whole life. About the people who are sick from glyphosate-related illnesses, and there are many, that don't even fucking know it. That don't even know that this is the chemical that's causing them problems. It's causing them autoimmune problems. It's destroying gut health. And they just go and press on. And they try different things in vain because they haven't got the glyphosate out of their lives. You know, what can you do? Well, I just wanted to get this. This is brand new news. Like, literally, I found out about this yesterday. They're still releasing stories on this, and it's going to go away in 2 days. 2 days, you won't hear a fucking thing about this until some judge reduces it to $5 million. That would be a big kick in the balls. Go from $2 billion punitive damages down to $5 million. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if that's what happened. And my prediction is that $2 billion will get dropped at some point. That's my thoughts on it. So let me know in the comments, what the fuck you think? Do you think Monsanto is, do you think they got away with it? Do you think this is the beginning of the end for them? I hope so. But even with $2 billion, they still have a lot more money that they're going to fight tooth and nail to protect. So they will keep this tied up in litigation. At some point, it's going to make them not profitable anymore. That is the tipping point. When we make it no longer profitable for Monsanto and Bayer to continue this behavior, that is the point that they will change or go away. It's really that simple. That is one of the last vestiges of the free market that we can, hope to correct itself. But ultimately, that's the only power we have, is our power in the free market, which is becoming less free as things go forward. I'm saying a lot of doom and gloom here, and I know that some people are going to rule me off as a tinfoil hat wearing motherfucker, even though this shit's all well documented, proven in court, proven by certain independently funded studies, randomized controlled studies. There's farmers that have anecdotal evidence about this stuff. There's a whole lot of evidence, and not to mention the evidence against the shady shit Monsanto was doing in terms of corrupting our government agencies and corrupting our studies in science. And they were banking that they could buy the science to back up their claim, and that other than having some legal costs, which they budgeted for to fight, they were confident that their paid-for evidence would get them through. They didn't count on people digging up the evidence that they bought and paid for, their paid-for evidence. And so congratulations, Monsanto Bayer. Your shady shit has come to an end, in my opinion. And I would just, if I were to advise Bayer, I would dissolve Monsanto completely at this point, because they have not one good practice going on that is going to generate profit. Their reputation will be irrevocably damaged from this. They will not be trusted. At some point, the government agencies are going to be like, okay, we can't go down with that ship. Fuck them. Let's fucking sell them down the river. That's coming too. Eventually, our government agencies are going to be like, well, we backed that horse, that fucked up, and they will pull back slowly enough so you can't say, hey, wait a minute. Well, didn't you just say that shit was safe all of this time? The same way they're doing with, saturated fat. They backed out slowly so that nobody noticed that the government changed. It used to be all low-fat diet. No, we pull the fuck back and just saturated fat's okay now, dickheads. Thanks. Yeah, they're going to do the same thing in this case, I think. So that's my prediction. Monsanto's going to take it in the ass. Bayer's probably going to, at some point, try to unload Monsanto or dissolve it. And glyphosate may get banned. Maybe. But that's way down the road. After about probably 100 more of these cases get lost, that'll be when the government says, okay, we better take a real honest look at this shit and see what it is. And the same thing happened with cigarettes. The same playbook has played out in multiple industries, and with the same business model. We're going to buy and pay for science, then we're going to lobby the government, and then we are in. We're good. Everyone's going to take for granted that we're safe at that point. That's the business model that the tobacco industry followed. The sugar industry has followed it. All the pharmaceutical industries use that playbook. They buy and pay for the science. Once they have that bought and paid for science, they rely on the fact that they can point to it and be like, see, this is what it does. Spend your money here. And we need to get away from that if we're going to ever fix healthcare, public health in general. It's just, there's no other way around that shit. But what the fuck do I know anyway? I don't know shit about shit and shit. So, I'm not an expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. Please like and subscribe for more fucking videos. And I'll make more fucking videos. At least I'm trying to make more. I'm trying to streamline. That's why this video is formatted like this, is I wanted to see if I could pump out videos a little quicker. I'm actually going to film another video right after this one that you'll see a little later. But for now, this video I'm going to let ride for a little bit because it's a little long. We're almost an hour. So like and subscribe. Check out ScottTheTruckDriver.com. All my activities are funneled through there. And if you found this entertaining or enlightening, or if you like watching fuck you Monsanto videos and I made you happy with this video, please leave a tip in the virtual fucking tip jar, link in the description. Or you can go directly through PayPal or any of those other mechanisms. I am thinking of getting rid of the Bitcoin thing, though, because of something that happened, but we'll get into that in another video, too. Also, check out Scott the Photographer. That's my second channel that is going to be more based on photography, filmmaking, videography, and, whatever else I feel like bullshitting about in the entertainment side of the world. So please subscribe over there. I am trying to get that channel going. It's growing a lot faster than this channel grew, but it's still in its infancy at this point. I've already got like 100 subscribers over there, which, if I remember, when I first started this channel, took me a good year before I got my first 100 subscribers, but I was doing something totally different that nobody gave a shit about when I started this channel. So there's that. And I'm getting a decent amount of views on some of my videos, too, that I've already put up there. I wasn't expecting that either. I was expecting it to be in the 50s or 40s or 10s here and there. So there's been some people that have stepped up and started watching those that have no clue about this channel. So if you're interested in what else I do, there's another spot if you're fucking bored and got nothing going on. You can also follow me on Minds.com as Scott the Truck Driver. I post there, relatively frequently. Also, Scott the Truck Driver on Instagram. You can follow me on there, and you'll see a lot of my photography on there. But I tend to sprinkle in little bits of wisdom in the captions here and there. And that's all my shit that I've pimped out here. So now I gotta go make 2 more fucking videos today. And, but I hope you can get Monsanto out of your life. I hope, if you go organic, if you minimize your exposure as much as possible. Look at the Dirty Dozen. There's, fruits and vegetables that are just loaded with this shit. And if you can minimize your exposure to these as much as possible, you're going to still get there, but you're going to take longer. Is the point. You'll have more time before you're giving Bayer all of your fucking paycheck because you're sick. That's my thoughts. So I want to end this one more time by saying, fuck Monsanto, fuck Bayer, and fuck any pharmaceutical company that's paying for science to back their shit up and then throwing it away if it doesn't back their shit up. Fuck these government agencies that have been essentially sucking off Monsanto and many other pharmaceutical companies while we're at it, at the expense of all the health around us going to complete shit. So that's my thoughts. I'd like to leave you with that nice pleasant aroma of shit that smells right now around us. And we're getting a really good whiff of it now. And maybe we'll clean that shit up. I hope. Have a nice motherfucking day. And shit.